Assassin's Creed is delayed for a second time. I can't believe we're here again. Like, what is it? 3 months later, 4 months after, whenever the last delay was. We had a video then. I was wearing this same shirt. The background was in feudal Japan because I was ready for the game. This time it's Christmas / Batman / was about to turn back into feudal Japan. Thank goodness I haven't done the decorations again already. If I had to tear down feudal Japan twice. Now, here's the deal. Assassin's Creed has been delayed by a month. The last time it was delayed by 3 months. Okay, so the worst part of it isn't that it was delayed. It was that they could have just said, hey, give us till March. Because normally when you delay something, you think, okay, what's the worst possible case? We already have to announce a delay. All of the cons of announcing a delay will be in our grasp, if you will, right? People, it's bad publicity. People are going to be upset. People are going to be judging your company. People are going to be asking for refunds. You already had it. You already had the negativity that occurs with a delay. So why would you not give yourself like a little buffer for a potential of a second delay and just give yourself a month or two? Like they could have said halfway through the year. They could have said whenever they wanted to, and we would have just been like, it didn't matter when they delayed it to, we would have had a similar reaction to the delay. So why not just do it the one time and get it right? What are you doing, Ubisoft? Now, here's the deal. They can't really delay it much further. And I think the reason they didn't delay it to this point before is because they're actually releasing it right before their year end. Let me just check something real quick. Ubisoft fiscal year. Okay, their fiscal year ends on March 31st and the game comes out on the 20th. So they'll only have 11 days until their fiscal year end. Now, for people who aren't in business, I used to be in corporate finance. What that means is their actual 2024 for their reporting, when you look at their annual reports and their quarterly reports and all this stuff, their actual, and then people parse that and the investors make decisions and you see where the stock price goes. All of that's affected by the fiscal year, okay? And so they wanted to have Shadows, like their biggest game in ages, be within their 2024 fiscal year. The problem is they're only going to have 11 days in the fiscal year for Shadows to be a part of it. So they're going to have those day one sales, which is great. They're going to have those week one sales, but that's it. They're not going to have anything else. You know, if they'd done it back in the holiday season, they would have had the holiday sale. They would have had day one sales, week one sales, holiday sales, and then also the sales for months after, right? Now they're going to have 1 week. 1 week of sales. That's crazy. 11 days. So that's not going to be a lot to report for their 2024. You know, I don't know. Hold on. Let's do a chat GPT real quick. What percentage of game sales are made in the first week on average? Let's see if AI has anything good for us. How about in the first quarter? On average, we're talking on average, so this might not be applicable, but just keep it in mind, data, you know, 50 to, and we're trusting AI on this. So, you know, keep grain of salt here. Okay. But 50 to 60% of a game's lifetime sales occur in the first week on average. So half. Okay. So they're going to get half their sales maybe in the first week, which is good. Now things can change this, right? The pre-orders, whether it's AAA or indie. Now for AAA, the first quarter often accounts for 80 to 90% of total sales because of the big marketing push. And then it's not like a word of mouth drip like an indie game that goes well, right? So we're going to see half their sales for their month end. And I guess that's what they aimed for. They're like, we could get, 90% of our sales if we do it in November, or we could get 50% if we do it by February. And they're like, we're still, we might have gotten 60 to 70% if we did it in February, but we're still going to get about 50 in the first week anyway. So just push it as far as we can. That must be what they're doing, because their sales aren't going to be meaningfully impacted on their 2024 annual review. It's going to look roughly the same. We're talking about like big numbers here, okay? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of sales that come in after. We're just talking about like the rough estimates for what they need on their for what they're looking for on their financials to tell how well the game did. This is going to be that. So they pretty much delayed it as far as they can. I don't think we'll see another delay because of that. I think unless they literally cancel the game or they move it to like a completely different year and Ubisoft is being sold off, that is the only chance that this game is delayed. It will not be delayed further in the current state that Ubisoft is in, if they want to stay in the current state that they're in and they want to have a chance at that. Now, for the real reason it's delayed, I read a few articles on this. I've been reading up on it for ages because, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm MADkurious and I love Assassin's Creed. My two biggest series that I talk about and game about and do content on for live streams and videos is Assassin's Creed and The Last of Us. So I did 15 years and 15 weeks leading up to Mirage. Assassin's Creed is like my thing, okay? It's why I will be a little bit emotional in this video because I planned the entire first 6 months of the year surrounding this, and I had to flip it in an hour this afternoon. Doing great. I'm doing great. So anyway, the real reason that it's delayed, according to the Forbes contributor, Paul Tassi, who I definitely have seen across Twitter before, he reports it's due to the competition. So there's a lot of games coming out in February. The biggest one's going to be Monster Hunters. My podcast co-host, Dayla, if you go to our Unfiltered Gamers podcast, I'll put it in the description below. We talk about all sorts of gaming things from different sides of the equation. To be fair, we have a lot of differing opinions. He's excited for Monster Hunter and really wants me to play. If you think I should play Monster Hunter, I guess put it in a comment below. I have zero desire to. I just want to play Shadows. But now I won't have that competition, I suppose, for that month. So anyway, it was up against Monster Hunter, Avowed, Civilization, and Kingdom Come Deliverance. And all of those are going to be pretty big games, especially Monster Hunter against Shadows. So they wanted to move into a time that is better for a release with less competition. That is Paul Tassi's argument. And honestly, I think it's pretty sound. He reads into what Ubisoft actually says. And their corporate statement is, this additional time will allow the team to better incorporate the player feedback gathered over the past 3 months and help create the best conditions for launch by continuing to engage with the increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community. Now, best conditions for launch is what he grasped onto for that and said, okay, I think that they mean favorable conditions like in the external. So I think that's a pretty good assumption, to be honest. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They say each week has brought valuable feedback from our community while we've already made remarkable strides. And this is the fan statement. So the other was the corporate statement. So what they said on the corporate end, this is what they're saying for fans. While we've already made remarkable strides, we believe a few additional weeks are needed to implement that feedback and ensure an even more ambitious and engaging day one experience. Now, something Paul Tassi says in this Forbes article, and I'll link this below too, he says, how much feedback can you implement in a massive game like this in a single month? And I agree, like small delays like this, he says, are generally used for polish and bug fixing, which he says he's sure will also happen. I think so too. I think there's probably some big bugs that they found that, and they don't want to say like, hey, we have a bunch of bugs. Obviously, that's not what they want to say. So they want to make it like, we're making the game better. They don't just want to say, oh, we still just need more time to get it done. They want to say like, oh, we're giving you more. So it's they're wording it very specifically for marketing purposes. So I don't know how much feedback they really are implementing. Maybe there are a couple things that they can do on a small scale or on a large scale quickly. Maybe there's something that's like easy to implement in a few weeks time. Maybe they went through, I'm sure they had a bunch of meetings about this, and I'm trying to picture the meetings that I've been in when I worked in the corporate world. It was probably a lot of, okay, how much can you realistically get done if we gave you 3 more weeks? What can you get done? What would make this game better? What do you think is a point that will take this game above and beyond and potentially not just get us more sales, but have the conversations surrounding this game be positive, because that's what we need. Once we get those sales, we need the conversations about it to be positive, or Ubisoft is going to go down even if they got the sales. So because it's just in such a dire strait. So maybe there were a few things that they thought they could get done in, I guess technically it's how many weeks? We're looking at February 14th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's technically 5 weeks, minus a day. So maybe there's a few things they can get done. If anybody who's watching this video works in game development and has any idea what that could possibly be that they could have gathered feedback for, that they could fix, or add, maybe there's like a parkour. I can't imagine that it would be a parkour shift at this point. Parkour is just on the mind because they just did an announcement. I legitimately called on Monday, on the 7th. I was like, or was it Monday, Tuesday, 6th? Anyway, on Monday, I think I posted a tweet like, do we think it's going to be delayed? They haven't said anything about the game in weeks. And most people were like, nah. And when I looked around Twitter, because I didn't get that much interaction on it, but when I looked around Twitter, it looked like most people didn't really think it was going to be delayed again. And so even I started to believe it, especially when they posted about parkour. I was like, okay, we're in the clear. They're posting. We're good. They're posting things. Here we are. So I was jerked back and forth this week. So I was like, all right, is it going to be delayed? No, we have an announcement. Oh, I was right the first time. So here we are. Another thing that I found interesting in their statement, by the way, is the increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community. I am one of the biggest Assassin's Creed fans you will find. Like I said, 15 years and 15 weeks. All we do is, like, if I could just have 2 games for the rest of my life, like 2 franchises that continued, it would be Last of Us and Assassin's Creed. Like, I'm the biggest Assassin's Creed fan. I want to play every second of every game every Assassin's Creed game in my gaming career. That's what I want. I just want to get to a point where people just want to watch me play those games. Other games are fun sometimes too as a palate cleanser, but like those are my goal. I want to 100% them all. Okay. However, even I am becoming increasingly less positive. I am so negative right now. I'm so mad at Ubisoft right now. And not because they delayed it. Delays happen. I want it to be a good game. Now, to be fair, I don't care as much about gameplay state as a lot of people. I thought Outlaws was in a good state. I didn't have any bugs that were so remarkable that I remember them to this day. I had a great time. All right. I loved Star Wars Outlaws. I'm one of the few people that's going to say that. I am one of the biggest Ubisoft fans. I loved Star Wars Outlaws, and I loved it in its launch state. I actually had it a week earlier, and I got it. I got it courtesy of Ubisoft, and this is not me like just saying it because I got courtesy of Ubisoft. I didn't like Skull and Bones. There are a few things I've gotten from Ubisoft that I haven't been as into, so no, it's not just because I got it from them. I'm very honest with my opinions. I loved Star Wars Outlaws. I'm a huge Ubisoft fan. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. But I am very mad at Ubisoft, and it's becoming increasingly hard to defend them because there's people out for blood right now in the gaming industry for all sorts of reasons. There's, huge movements for all sorts of things. I almost can't blame some of them at this point. I've been exhausted by them to the point where I'm like, fine, put more boobs in games. I guess I don't care if it'll make them happy. Just give them the boobs. We're getting to a point where, there's the woke and the anti-woke. I don't particularly care what message you're putting in the game. Just give me the games I like. You know what I mean? And I like Assassin's Creed and Last of Us. I cannot stress that enough. So, with all of that said, where do I think it's going? With all of that said, let's answer a few myth-busting questions. Do I think it could be delayed again? Not unless Ubisoft goes under, and I think that there is a chance. The reason that it's delayed could be because they're moving it to a better time. They're shifting it into a better time. That's what Forbes Paul Tassi has to say about it, with less competition. It could be that, plus maybe they are able to get some more bug fixes obviously done, but also probably they had a couple managers step in and say, or a couple key players step in and say, yeah, we could get maybe this, and this done if you give us those 5 weeks. Okay, done. But shouldn't it already be like gold at 30 days? So maybe that's where people were getting 3 weeks from. Anyway, they have a few weeks, right? But I guess technically 5 weeks more. So, and here's the thing. Some of the bad press that Ubisoft has gotten, like I said, is part of these movements that it's much bigger than Ubisoft. It's the whole gaming industry. There's like a larger narrative. There's review bombing happening, and it's nothing that any specific company is doing wrong on its own. There's a lot of engagement baiting. Negativity is what gets clicks. This video will probably get a few clicks just because it's more on the negative side. Whereas when I post positive videos, sometimes it doesn't. It depends. But, engagement bait is generally pretty negative these days. It works. Okay. I try to stay away from it as much as possible, but this is one of those negative things that I talk about because this franchise is so deeply ingrained in my brand. So I talk about the positive and the negative. I have a lot of Assassin's Creed videos I'm working on. I have AC1 out already. That was like a year ago now, but I am going to take this time to do work along live streams instead of, I was about to start the Assassin's Creed franchise, our Mad Assassin's Creed Season 2 on Monday, and we'll now be continuing our work along streams that we tried this past week in order to get some videos out on Assassin's Creed. So you should see a lot of positive Assassin's Creed content on this channel very soon, but I'm feeling pretty negative right now. So I don't know where they got the idea that the whole community's positive, because I'm pretty annoyed. And again, not because of the delay, but because of the communication. How dare they wait like 30 days? I guess it's technically a little more than 30 days. It literally is barely a month ahead of time. They said, I think it was around 6 weeks when they told us Mirage would be here early. Remember when Mirage was early? Remember the days of... Listen. But truly, those external circumstances are not everything that's wrong with Ubisoft, all right? We've, like, aside from the negative precedents in 2024, 2025 gaming conversations, this is a make or break game for the company. That's what everybody's saying. It does seem to be that way. Ubisoft has not been doing well as a company. All we see is negative publicity on it these days. And for it to be delayed a second time, only a month before release, it's clearly not all unwarranted criticism towards Ubisoft, as much as I love the company. And I love Assassin's Creed. I love Ubisoft. Their games for me have been a great source of joy, learning, motivation. I know that sounds a little bit dramatic, but to those who know the power of gaming, who use it to develop skills that feed into your real life, empathy for others, and to appreciate details in life that you may have never noticed before until you were made aware of different pieces of life in games and different focuses, the power of gaming is real. And a lot of my life has been impacted by this franchise and this company. Ubisoft has mentioned in length there are over 200 million in cost reductions plans and strategic updates that sound an awful lot like M&A. For those who have not been cursed by business jargon in your lifetimes, that's mergers and acquisitions, which basically sounds a lot like Ubisoft might be selling or dismantling and dismembering and giving their pieces to other places. These rumors have been flying for a while, and I don't even want to vocalize it, but it's possible Shadows gets canceled altogether if Ubisoft kicks the bucket. So diehard fans like me, we probably need to start looking for physical copies of the game, just in case. Because I don't know about you, but a lot of my copies, a lot of the games I've been playing on Ubisoft Plus. Well, technically on PlayStation Plus, which has Ubisoft Plus, or did last year, hopefully still does this year. So, you know, if Ubisoft were to kick the bucket, Ubisoft Plus might not be online. And so, you know, this is one of those things where this new shifting into the digital age of games, and I've had many conversations about that, but this shift might actually, this is one of the biggest cons, is if a company shuts down and you no longer have access to those games. So just diehard fans, just keep that in the back of your mind for the worst case scenario, because I want to play these games, you know, regularly for the rest of my life. They're something that really brings me joy. We can only hope that if the worst happens, someone else picks up Assassin's Creed and continues it. And continues the honestly really wonderful legacy that Ubisoft has built in the Assassin's Creed series. I love Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed, if for nothing else, and I've loved a lot of their games. I know there's a lot of people who loved them previously and don't as much now. I still do. For the love of all that is gaming, I hope that anyone who might pick up this series, or if Ubisoft gets back on track, which is what I hope most of all, do better with your communication, or you're gonna lose your biggest fans. I'm MADkurious. I love Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna have a lot of stuff coming out on it soon. I'm very excited for Shadows. I really hope it actually comes out. Did I say like and subscribe? You should do that. Like and subscribe for more Assassin's Creed. Okay, goodbye.